have a good friend, Sweta, who's from Nepal. A couple of my good friends had always been wanting to do this marathon that was from the base camp of Mount Everest. This year was the 70th anniversary of when Tenzing and Hillary summited Mount Everest.
Tenzing and Hillary's 70th anniversary. Harit is from New Zealand, I'm from Nepal, so it will be just perfect celebration of New Zealand-Nepal friendship. Harita came up with this idea of doing the Everest Marathon. This idea, I was so thrilled. I thought, is it going to be for real? Like doing the marathon from the highest altitude.
It's probably the hardest marathon in the world to make it to the start line of, for sure. The Peace Run's something that I really love because it's a way to experience a lot of things that I also love, like running and meeting people and going out into nature, and also doing something really positive and encouraging people to be the best that they can be, and also to believe that each one of us, if we be the best person we can be, can really make a difference to the world.
In 1987, Sri Chinmoy founded the RAN. He was a peace philosopher and visionary, and he loved running, and he worked tirelessly for peace. So he somehow came up with this beautiful idea of combining running and peace.
Our goal was to hike up there with the peace torch, meeting people along the way, and then to run the marathon. All the girls in our team started arriving, which was exciting. We had a super excellent team. And the fact that we were from 9 different countries, I think really gave people a lot of joy and inspiration as soon as they heard it. We had a great meeting with the organizer of the marathon and people who were really excited that we were coming with the Peace Run.
From the moment we got to Kathmandu, every experience for me was new. We were packing our bags the night before. We had to get down to 15 kgs because the plane from Kathmandu to Lukla is really small.
We were booked to fly to Lukla. The weather was cloudy. The flights cannot fly into Lukla if it's cloudy.
If we wanted to go that day, we were going to have to get on a helicopter. And if we lost a day, then potentially we would be in trouble for the rest of the trip.
It was really incredible that we were able to get helicopters to get there.
When I got offered the opportunity to join the Peace Run in Nepal up to Everest Base Camp, I got such a thrill because it was just a fantastic adventure, and I love running adventures, I love traveling, I love the Peace Run, so it was just such a perfect thing to do, and I was really happy and honored to be asked to join the team.
So my main challenge initially getting ready for this trip was feeling physically ready.
So I had looked at what the route and the daily walks up to base camp would involve, and I also tried to incorporate quite a lot of hikes into my training of about the same distance, maybe 5 to 7 hours in the hills with about 500 meters of climb. I guess I knew that the more comfortable my body was doing that at sea level, that the less stress it would be at altitude, so that my body would have extra energy and reserves to deal with the altitude.
We started our hike in the evening, which was about 3 hours with headlamps, and it was really mystical landing there in the Himalayas, and we didn't see that much anymore because it was already getting dark. But it was such a beautiful atmosphere there, and it was so special actually being there after preparing for such a long time.
We had 3 amazing women join the Peace Run team for the hike.
Mira Rai, who's a really well-known Nepalese ultra runner, and Laxmi Magia, who's a Nepalese cyclist, and then Roshni Rai, and she organises races and is a very pioneering runner in her own right. So the 3 of them were thrilled to join our team, and we were really thrilled to have them.
Peace Run is something very, very special for me. You get to see the country, you get to meet the people of the country. I think you really get to have a glimpse of that country, of that community.
When we were just going into Namche, we kind of came across Alex Hillary and he said to us that his father was going to be joining them right there.
Think things up. Where do you want me? Oh, with the torch?
Yeah.
This is quite cool.
I took the high road down, and then I looked down.
Alex and Peter and his wife Yvonne were all able to hold our peace torch, and we could get a big photo with the whole team.
It was about 5 a.m. and I looked out the window and it was the most beautiful view of the mountains and the sunrise. So I went outside and I saw a whole lot of people walking up a path, and they said they were going to view Mount Everest. So I joined them, and Peter Hillary and Alex Hillary were there, and there was cloud over Mount Everest, but as we were there it parted and I could see just the tip of it, and it was an incredible feeling. Is that Everest on the list? It's coming out of you. It is.
It was so magical. I felt being an explorer, looking around, and we saw streams. We were crossing bridges, suspended bridges. A special atmosphere and a special feeling.
Sometimes we can plant a tree together for peace to keep reminding ourselves that peace doesn't happen by itself. We each have to take steps for peace to happen. The trees that we planted, the rhododendron trees, they are the trees that the local deer like to eat. So I hope we made friends with them.
And we actually had our Sherpas the day before mount the plaque onto like a wooden stand to be able to put it into the ground, which was also really a touching moment for us because they were so enthusiastic and they employed the help of about 10 men from the local village to help do it, and everybody was very interested in the plaque. We had the opportunity to offer Peter Hillary the Torchbearer Award, which was, for us, we were so happy to be able to do that. And we had the opportunity to kind of formally introduce the Peace Run to all of the people from the Himalayan Trust. Yeah, and he seemed really happy to receive the award as well.
Peace run, peace run, peace run, peace run. Peace run, peace run, peace run, peace run.
The next few days, we always made our way up a little bit higher.
Yeah, the children are just adorable. What can you say? They're so special, and to have the opportunity to meet them and to share the peace run with them is really something so special.
प्रकृतिका कोटि कोटि सम्पदाको अचल बिहरूले राग गरे सजगार अचल ज्ञान भूमि शान्ति भूमि तरेका हरिमल.
Having the opportunity to share the peace run with all of those people, and then with all of the foreigners and travellers that we met along the way, that was really an incredible privilege, and to be able to do that in the backdrop of these incredible mountains, this incredible landscape, and you kind of feel like, you want to go back there and just be able to appreciate it more. Like it seems like my appreciation was like, 1% of what it could have been for how special it was. It was a really cold day. It was overcast and like snowing a little bit sometimes. And Magdalena still really wasn't 100% and she was walking very, very slowly. We had to walk at a very slow pace to stay with her. And at one point, she said to me, "I can't go on." We were like really in a very exposed place. Although our Sherpas were really, really excellent, they weren't going to make a call like that.
I did not have any experience with high altitude. I was researching and I also asked my family doctor for advice about what to take. Finally, I put together quite a few things, and then later on the mountain, I also went to a hospital there and I saw that actually I managed to prepare everything that they also had on the list and were advising people to take. So I was quite happy that I put together a good list. When we were going up, at that point I was feeling a little bit weak, and that was when I decided that I wouldn't do the Everest marathon but change to the Everest half marathon. There was also one more team member, Avijali, which had problems with the altitude, and the doctor at Gorakshep also recommended her to switch to the half marathon.
It was hard to accept because, I had this dream for 10 years to do the whole marathon. But in my heart, I knew that, that was the right decision to make.
Actually, the morning before Everest Base Camp, we went towards Kalapata, which is a peak close to Gorakshep, with the altitude of 5,545 meters. And 3 of our team, Preetidutta, Harita and me, made it up to the summit of Kalapata, which is basically just a big rock. And it was really snowy, it was windy, it was cold, but it was fantastic. And then we climbed up that stone of Kalapata, that mountain peak, and then the clouds cleared and we just saw Everest. It was so magical.
One thing they give us for altitude is garlic soup, and I felt like it helped me so much. I would always ask for seconds because immediately my headache would go away and I'd just feel so much better. So I always looked forward to the garlic soup whenever we got to lunch and then dinner and then, no, not breakfast. Probably my highlight of the whole trip was being at base camp. The feeling of being in the same place as these climbers in years gone by that have summited Everest, and just the history that has been at base camp. We were even sleeping in these little yellow tents that glow at night, and it just really felt like we were part of the climbing world.
We spent 2 days there, 2 nights, and it was really beautiful. And waking up there in the morning, sticking your head out of the tent and then seeing all the Himalayan mountains there, it's just so special because it's not something you can just do any day.
At night, when I got out of my tent, the sky was sort of this glowing blue. It was absolutely beautiful. And the stars were there and a slither of a moon. And the mountains were glowing around. It was just so beautiful.
The most incredible part of the Nepal Peace Run has been to get the government approval for peace flag installation, proclaimed Mount Everest at the Sri Chinmoy Peace Mountain. So at the Everest Base Camp we will have this Peace Mountain plaque installed there, we will have something significant for anyone visiting the site to reflect on peace for a moment. It will be such inspiration for everyone.
When we were up there at base camp, it was really like it was a real victory that we had made it. And then I felt the same way with the marathon, that as we were running down, it was kind of like a victory lap.
And one nice thing in the marathon was that many people had seen us hiking up and they recognised us during the race and cheered us with greetings of "Peace Run, Peace Run."
It was so incredible to see the difference between the Nepalese runners and the foreigners, because the Nepalese were really acclimatized well. I thought I'd try my luck and see what happens if you try running at over 5,000 meters altitude. And at first it was quite okay, but after like 10 seconds I really felt my energy draining and really felt how exhausting it actually is.
I was going so slow, I just really had to stop every 5 steps just to not faint basically. And a Sherpa passed me. He was an older, maybe in his 70s, and he had this massive load on his back. And he just sat down and he gave me the sweetest smile, and he just said namaste. He said good luck, good luck.
I had the opportunity to carry the Peace Run torch for the entire marathon. So that was really nice to see how people interact with the torch and are so receptive to the message that peace starts within all of us.
When I finally came to the finish line of the marathon, I was so relieved to actually make it. It was probably the toughest race I've ever run in my life.
And I lit the torch and then finished with the flaming torch, which was really incredible.
Crossing the finish line was just so much joy. Seeing the other girls, it was really like a great victory for all of us. The main challenge was kind of over. Be able to meet all the people who are just so humble and so good and have so many beautiful qualities, and to be able to feel like we could really connect with them and that they could really connect with the Peace Run and with Shreech and Moi, that just felt like such a privilege. You know, I'm so grateful that we had such a wonderful team of people who brought so many different capacities. It was an incredible blessing to be able to do it.